Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And I have a fabulous guy here today. Akash Sky is here, and welcome to High Road to Humanity, Akash.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
I'm excited you're here. He's written this cool book, Introducing You to Your Own Perfection. And this is a really good book. It talks a lot about Jesus and God and the connections that we have in consciousness. And he even gets into the Bhagavad Gita, which is kind of cool. So it's pretty broad. So you guys are going to really enjoy this one. Before I bring him on, I have to say something because it's driving me nuts, you guys. I'm watching all this stuff go on TV right now. I try not to watch the news too much, but I have to be informed. And I just saw that Tucker Carlson on Fox News was fired, of course, because they had a big lawsuit and it was all about the election and election fraud and all of that. But it's so sad to see that people are being removed, that their voices are not being heard for, I would say, truth speaking. And so I'm here today to speak the truth, and I always speak the truth. And I just hope that you guys will support people who are speaking the truth, because it's a really sad situation that we've run across. Anyway, so having said that, I've got Akash Sky here, and he was born in Akash Thapar, is that right? In
That's
South
right, yeah.
London. Okay.
Yeah.
And so his career path is Chartered Accountancy, where he specializes in financial investment. He is 30 years old. At 30 years old, I'm sorry. In April 2015, he married his wife. And is it pretty?
It's pretty, yes.
I love it. And moved to North London. That same year in September, his dad passed away, which was the beginning of his life-changing direction. So with an intense yearning to know who he was, the meaning of life, and his relationship with a greater power, he connected with a guru, and he's going to tell a story here today. You know, Akash, I read what happened. So your father was passing and you were there, and this kind of prompted you to start to your spiritual journey. Tell us your story.
Yeah, definitely. So, when we tend to suffer, these questions, they just come into your mind, don't they? And so many questions came into my mind. It was, what is life all about? What is death? But what is God? Why do we come here for such a short time, and then why does it all end?
Yeah.
Why is there pain, and why is it sometimes happy and sometimes not? And these questions really came into my mind, and it was really deeply being asked these questions in a quite, I guess, frustrated way.
Mhm.
And what came to me actually was the answer in the form of a question, and that question was, who am I? And it came from a place, or that was absolutely just so awe-striking, so peaceful, so
Unexpected.
whole. I mean, you could see it pop into the mind,
Yeah.
and where it came from was complete. It was not, there was no fear in that,
Yeah.
and then the question is the question that drives me. It drove me into so many different, dived into certain books. It drove me into studying A Course in Miracles,
I know.
which is dictated by Jesus Christ, as we know, and it connected me with the essence of Guruji, which is the avatar of Lord Shiva, and that, we all talk about, these symbols like Jesus and Guruji and the Buddha, and
Mhm.
and these symbols really are here because we've got our own individual personality, and our own individual self-image, has its likeness to, it's very easy to go with certain symbols because it's got a unique personality, right? So mine's Akash, and Akash is a Hindu, and so it's very easy to just connect with something like that, right?
Right.
Jesus as well. If you're Christian, you'd love to connect with Jesus. And actually, if you go out of that personality, it's actually an essence, isn't it? It's like the Holy Spirit, which
Mhm.
is, and they're manifesting that, aren't they? They're manifesting that universal mind. And if you use the one that works for you, we all have different symbols here, but it's
Right.
the same essence, isn't it? It's that universal essence that we connect with. It's just so beautiful.
Well, I'm gonna get into this kind of heavy with you today because I'm
Yeah,
a spiritual girl. So I have,
great.
and I will say this: you're the second person. This is really interesting. I had Dr. Donna Marks on my show a couple days ago, and she is like so big on A Course in Miracles, and you are also. So I ordered the book.
Mm.
I finally ordered it because I've had so
Yeah.
many people come on my show. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to order it and read it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I suggest that to everybody. But what you talk about and what I really want to get into is our disconnection from source in the beginning. I
Mm,
do believe, and I believe we were all stars because you know how they say, and
yep.
you believe, I do believe that. I've
Yeah.
actually had a regression where somebody took me back.
Oh,
And
really?
that's,
Did you?
yeah. And they took me
Yeah.
back. Yeah. I was in Sedona and somebody took me back and I was a
So
star.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine who actually does that in hypnotizing,
Yeah.
and it goes
That's what
all the
she,
way back. And like
yeah.
Dolores Cannon, she's a really famous author.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's well known for this.
Yeah.
You go back to source. It's incredible.
It really is. So this is what I want to talk about because I don't know everything and you don't know everything, but there's a lot. If we all were stars and this is what I think, and I want to know what you think because it's really interesting for
Yeah.
me. So we all stars, and then we all felt like we wanted to have our own identity, is what I get from this. And you can
Yeah.
correct me at any time. Okay. So
Mhm.
then this is what I think. We all went away from source so we could all experience, but the whole deal is that we all go back to source, that we all figure it out. And the whole deal is, and I was thinking today, I wonder who the last one will be. But you know what I'm saying? Isn't that a
Yeah.
funny thing? Or
Yeah.
I thought, or maybe there'll be a group, so there's not a last one, But but that's pretty much what this is, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've chosen, according to A Course in Miracles.
Yeah.
I can go technical, and then we can elaborate
Yeah.
on that. So before the beginning, before there were beginnings and endings, there was the eternal always,
Mhm.
and in this eternal always, there is the Creator and only the Creator, and the Creator created a creation. Right, and that creation can be called many things. You can be called the offspring of the Creator. You can be called the child of the Creator. A
Right.
Course in Miracles calls it the Christ. If you like that word, you could use that as well. Now, the Christ wanted to experience some sort of existence away from the Creator. It had just a question in it. What would it be like to play away from the Creator? And
Mhm.
so from that point of view, it made unwise choices, right? So it firstly introduced into the mind consciousness. So consciousness was introduced into it in the primary split, which made us perceivers as opposed to creators. Okay, and then we have the Christ mind, and now we have the separated mind, right?
Mhm.
Now in this separated mind, it's split. It was a further split, right? So within this, we then have two thought systems. Okay, so we've got the higher self thought system, and we've got the lower self thought system, which the course calls the ego. Okay,
Mhm. Right.
and so these two thought systems are directly opposing, right? The higher
Right.
self, it knows what we are. It's our route back home, and it links us back to the Christ. Okay, and the lower mind wants to be individualized. It wants to be separated. It wants to be a person, right?
Mhm.
And it wants to do that over and over again in many different ways, different self-images and different forms. Now, this conflicted mind between both systems projects outwards an entire cosmos, right? And this cosmos is what the Course in Miracles say is reenactment of that moment we all believed that we were separated from our Creator. Right? It was really deep thinking, actually, because
So it's a
everything.
projection. I'm gonna stop you a second. So our minds are projecting this.
Yeah. So the one mind, so your mind, my mind, all of our united mind, the one mind,
Right.
is projecting out in a universe, right?
Right.
A cosmos that is appearing as everything is separated, right? And if you
Mhm.
look at it, it is, everything is separated. You've got different galaxies, you've got different planets. You walk into the world, you've got so many different things. You've got grass on the ground, you've got trees separated. You come in here and everything is separated from you, right?
Right.
Different people are separated as well.
Mhm.
And so it's a projection outwards, right? But
Mhm.
it's a dream. It's not, it's a dream. It's not, the child of God can't actually be separate from the Creator, from its source. It's not possible to really be separate. It's a dream away from it. And this
Mhm.
dream-like nature, once you follow the Course and you live it, and you live by the solution, which is holy forgiveness, it really does share its vision with you, this higher self. It shares its vision with you, that actually it is very dreamlike. You can't go back to different experiences in your life.
No.
The body's a dream figure, it's changing all the time. It used to be very young, it's getting older, and it's
Darn it,
slowly
I'm gonna stop it. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, wait a minute. I gotta stop you for a second, because what I get from this is that, we come down here, and I have to speak for myself only, but I think for the first 25, 30 years, we're into the material stuff.
Mm,
And then when we realize that the material doesn't fill us up, there's a void.
yeah,
You can buy and you can buy and you can do it, but it doesn't fill the void.
that's
And
right.
and then as you get older, and that's why I'm so impressed by you, because it took me a lot longer than you to figure this out. Well, no, because we all are, looking, oh, well, if I marry the right person, or if I just have this much money, or if I just have this house or that car,
Yep.
it's none of it. It's the inside. It's really when you go back to God.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true. And what takes you inwards as well is a key question, isn't it? Because your
Tragedy,
external
tragedy.
so there's two things. There's usually two things. There's the suffering
Did
when
you
you
see
just
the
have
light go on
way
there?
too much. I did see, yeah,
I know.
actually.
Sorry.
It's the intense suffering that says, look, have I got this completely wrong right now? Because this is really, really
Screwed up.
painful,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the other one, which is where you've done so much, you've achieved so much that it's still, you're not satisfied still, you
Well,
know?
and yeah, and I
What?
was watching, I got to tell you this. I was watching Whitney Houston movie. God,
Yeah.
Whitney Houston, what a voice, man.
Yeah.
What a
Beautiful.
voice.
I'm a
And
great fan.
oh, me too, man. And I was
Yeah.
watching her, and I was watching the movie, and I couldn't watch the end of it
Yeah.
because I was like, shoot, and God bless her, no judgment here at all. No
Yeah.
judgment, no judgment. But I saw it. I saw she had such a gift, but she didn't realize. She
Yeah.
did. But it's almost, and the Michael Jackson, same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
it all, but
Yeah.
then,
Yeah. Even
go ahead.
I
What do
know
you
what you mean.
think?
Even was it Robin Williams as well,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
well, he knew he
Yeah.
had a disease.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he had
You
a
know.
disease and he didn't want to suffer that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, I think, a form of dementia is what he had.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that. It's the external environment. It's the egoic thought system. It keeps us firmly rooted and fixated on the external environment. And
Mhm.
and and to keep us fixed on the external environment can you imagine it? It's so scary because everything is changing. That your loved ones are changing, your body is changing, your
Mhm.
even your body mind, the mind that you think that you are, is changing. Like, for example, Akash used to be really good at trigonometry and calculus. Not anymore. You used to be vegetarian. Not anymore. Yeah, you
Okay.
used to have different fashion trends. Not anymore. Used to be really good at English, not as much now because he prefers maths, numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really, the mind is always changing as well, which can be very fearful. And so that's why when we go inwards to that place which doesn't change, that's the joy, and it's not happy and unhappy anymore. It's always in joy,
I
it's beautiful.
know. And that's where I'm at, dude. I love this. You say we are all searching for peace, love, and joy, which is the natural state of what we are.
That's
And that's
exactly right.
true. That's true. No, it took me, man, I'll tell you what. I can only say this because I went through a terrible divorce.
Yep.
And then I sat for like 2 years almost, just connecting,
Yes.
connecting. And you finally get to a point where you're like, oh, okay. And then you're joyful. You're joyful
That's
because
it.
you realize that all this is just an illusion. You do the best
Yes.
you can while you're here. I'm just talking
Yep.
and telling you what I think.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to, here's where I'm at. It's really hard. Some days I get so caught up in the heavenly that I forget to do some of my earthly, but it's a
Yep.
balance. What I'm learning is, and I don't know what you think, I'm learning it's a balance. Like I have to be here. So I have to do stuff to like make money and pay my bills and all of that. But then, and exercise and, all that stuff. But then on
Yep.
the flip side, you got to connect with God.
Yeah.
You got to have that. Is that where you're at too? Do you do that too?
Mine is very different.
Oh, talk to me. Oh, I want to hear.
Similar, but there's something that is even more.
Okay.
So with me, I'm extremely disciplined, right? Not that you're not, you are as well in your own
Mhm,
ways, right?
mhm.
Mine's extremely disciplined for spirituality,
Right.
spiritual growth, right?
Right,
And so
right.
so for me, mine's complete. I don't start my day without surrendering
Right.
Akash over to the higher self, okay? Because I'm aware that the higher self exists in eternity. It's fully aware of eternity, but it's also fully aware of the body, mind, Akash,
Right. So you
right?
take that
Everything to do
minute
with
in
it.
the right. So and I don't want to interrupt you, and I'm sorry, but you take that minute in the morning. I taught the audience how to connect. So
Yeah.
you take that moment in the morning and you bring in the light and you connect, is what you're
Yeah,
saying to
so
me.
so everyone has their own ways of doing this, of course.
Right, right.
I in my mind, I touch the feet of Jesus and Guruji in my mind. I
Oh,
touch their feet and I say, "What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say?" I give everything to you and to nothing else. Nothing else meaning the ego, right? So I
wow.
I give it to you. Whatever you would like me to do, I serve you and nothing else. I serve you, and it it's incredible. It directs your day, right? It directs you to the places, directs you to the people. It tells you what to do, what to say. It tells you what not to say as well. It directs. I'm at work, right? I don't even prepare for meetings. It just talks. It also prepares me in other ways. It would say, read this in advance, and so I read that, and so you are prepared for that call, right? It's everything. It's a completely surrendered life, and that's why we get eternal peace. It's not kind of
We got to let go
here
of the
and
control. We got to let go.
it's not God here and there, right? It
It's
is
all the
it's
time. All the
it's
time.
all the it's
Right.
all the time, and
Right.
it's so peaceful. It's so
Right.
peaceful,
Right.
you
I
know.
agree. We're on the same page. I just love listening to you. Now I journal to God in the morning and to Gaia. I've included
Oh,
Gaia. Yeah, I
oh, Gaia,
include Gaia
perfect,
now because I bring up the light and I teach the audience to bring up the light and to bring down the
beautiful.
light so that we
Yeah,
connect. Yeah, because if I don't teach people how to do this, how are we going to raise our
yeah.
vibration? And okay, so you're a perfect example. You do it in the morning. That's what I do before you go out there and you face the world. Now, I love what you say that it just comes to you. You just know. So
Mm.
I'm a psychic. I'm sure you are too, because the more you connect, the more you know. Talk about that.
Yeah, so as you connect to the higher self, it shares its vision with you. Okay,
Mhm.
and its vision is it's whole. Okay, so you are able to get inklings into what's going to happen, and in fact, once you know that there is this there's the wave function that sits in front of the way that we see our vision, right? Which
Mhm.
has endless possibilities of anything in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
For things to happen, occurrences, experiences. Once you know that that's there in front of you, you are actually bringing that forth yourself, right? And so you're bringing through the experiences with the people, with the surroundings around you. It's all perception, right? Perception is coming forth, right? And we all have our own unique perception, right? And so when we talk about psychic abilities, it's really about you connecting to that which is outside the body mind, which is aware of everything happening within the body mind, and also all of space time happening at once,
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it gives you that inkling always of what is good and what is not good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't go there. You've done that, you
Right.
know, and you get that feeling within you, which is, nah, I'm not doing that, or no, that person, it doesn't feel right,
Doesn't feel right. Yeah.
no, and that feeling's very strong. It's very
Mm-hmm.
strong inside. You just know it.
And
Um,
sometimes it's hard because there's people I've had to let go of that I didn't really, I knew it would hurt them, but it was for my energy level. Does that make sense?
Oh, do you know what? I'm the same.
Okay.
But what actually happens is there's not one Earth outside of you. There's actually lots of different versions of Earth
Mm-hmm.
outside of you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're being projected outwards because it's all coming from you, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, you're the one mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you take away the border that makes you what you are of your small mind, you are like the river that flows into the ocean. You're the one mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that one mind is projecting out everything in front of you. Am
Mm-hmm.
I right? And you have that 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 understanding that everything is coming from you, and that you can change the situation, right? And so the worlds that you see, you're actually moving through the different realities through higher consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're projecting outwards
Yeah.
a more happier, peaceful, and it's incredible because when I was at lower consciousness and I was a very ego state, it was very painful. It was,
Right.
everything is happening to you. You're getting fined by parking fines. You're getting fined here and there. You're getting people to rude to you. You walk into a restaurant and generally people are not nice to you. You're having these low level experiences because it's the way that you're thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the thought system, shall I say, that you're affiliating with, right?
Right.
But when
Right.
you have the affiliation with the higher self, you raise your consciousness, and you also are dealing with every problem that you see through holy forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
You are just you're moving through the
You're
reality.
floating. You're floating. You're kind of okay. So
Yeah,
right, and the reason I brought up this subject is because there's a lot of people right now. Families, are separated. I don't know if you see it a lot where you are. I know I have here in the United
yep,
States, where as people start to realize this stuff, you can't have a negative person talk to you all day long. You have to like, sorry,
yep.
love you, God bless, but you can't. And as we grow and as we evolve, and I love how you're talking about this because I know exactly. I was there a while back where your thoughts are like, why is this happening to me? And I didn't deserve this. And
Yep,
when you change all that,
yep.
it's completely different. The other thing I want to say, God, I lost my train of thought there. I had a question for you. I was going to ask you, but one thing I know that for me personally, oh, I know what I was going to ask you, but hold on. One thing for me personally, that my awareness, like I look at stuff from the outside now. I
Yep,
don't look at it like I used to. Like your
yep.
perception completely. Is that happened to you too?
Completely. So you're not looking at it with your identity anymore because your
Right.
identity is limiting, right? So,
Yeah.
like my identity says that, my family are Indian, and so that's the one I chose, and I reject the rest, right? My identity says I'm a male, and so
Um,
males are better than females. My identity
uh,
says that I'm Hindu, and so forth. It accepts that and rejects the rest, right? It
right.
says I am of this age, and it says it's the best age, rejects the rest, etc., etc., right? It's all these tastes that is the
Yeah.
identity is the problem, because the identity, not the problem, it's the limiting factor, shall I say. It
Yeah.
limits us, right? When really we are unlimited,
Right.
you know.
Now, I find myself, somebody told me I'm jumping dimensions. I probably am. Do you do this too? Because I'm like here, and then I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Are
Yeah,
you doing it too? But
you
and
can
I,
feel it. Yeah, you can
yeah, you're
feel it.
jumping
You
to
really
okay.
can.
Yeah.
You can.
Talk about this
It's
a little
actually
bit.
happening a lot. It happens. I think it happens all the time. If I'm honest with you, and it's that can be quite fearful if you're stuck in your self identity, because you
You're
want
like,
everything
what
to
the
be
hell?
fixed. You want it to be fixed, don't you? Because you're just thinking, oh my God, how can everything outside be changing so much? Actually, you're changing. You're shifting it based on your thoughts, which is incredible, you know.
Yeah.
You're projecting out that and if you don't believe it, try holy forgiveness, try holy forgiveness, try surrender,
Yeah.
right? And acceptance as well,
That's been
and it will
hard.
all change.
I
It will
know
all
that's been hard, the surrender part. I will say that
yeah.
too. Well, because I'm type A. And so it's really hard, and I'm good at a lot of things. And so it's
Yeah.
been really hard to let go. They say let go, let God. That's been the hardest thing. What about you? To let go of control.
So for me, it's been a process, right?
Yeah.
So it comes in stages. So when you first start off, you don't want to let go of anything. You're frightened because you think that if you let go of the identity, if I let go of Akash, that I'm not going to exist anymore, right?
No, I just
A little
think
bit.
that, well, I mean more like, okay, let me give you an example because I think the audience would want to hear this.
Yeah.
So I want to do better in my business. I want to make more money. And so what I do is I say affirmations and I say, God, I need a steady stream of money. And then I just expect it to come.
Yep.
But that's easier said than done. You
Mm.
do
Well,
it, and then you're like, oh my God, I better go do this. You know what I
how
mean?
how do you know that that's the best thing for you though? Because how do you know not in the last life or another version of you is already really, really rich and not very happy?
Right,
You
exactly.
know,
But you
that's the
still have
thing.
to function and
Mm.
make money and live. You know what
You,
I
you
mean?
you do have to function, but it will know what the best mix of it is,
Oh, I love
wouldn't
that.
it? It
Okay.
would know, this is when you realize how much it loves you, it knows
Yeah,
what's best for you, right?
yeah,
And it's like a parent, like
it
just
is. It is.
it's crossing the road with the parent. You don't cross the road because you look up, and I mean the key part of it really is when I'm with my children and I cross the road with them, my children, my child, she looks at me, and the first thing she's looking at, she's looking at me because, one, she knows that I know more, right? And secondly, she's doing it because she's aware that she knows less and she trusts me, right? It's similar
Mhm.
to this, right?
Trust.
It
Yes.
knows more. It knows
Yes.
more. And
Yes.
also the trust that it takes care of you because it loves you unconditionally and it shares its love with you. It's like a constant pushing out of love to you. Um, but again, people need to go into that experience to know that, right? In
Yeah,
order to
yeah. Well, and I always say, you see the birds, they're cool. They don't
yeah,
worry. They don't worry. The animals
yeah,
don't worry. Not
yeah.
none of the animals worry. We do. It's so crazy.
Yeah, we
And
do.
it's really the opposite, just like you said, because when you let go, things actually get better.
Yeah, and also, do you know what? You're never thinking, like, you just never think hardly. It pops into your mind as opposed to you thinking, you don't think ahead really because it kind of just comes forth into your reality. And when you don't think too far ahead, you do some planning, obviously, but
Yeah.
you don't go so far ahead where you're in imagination. Imagination is the ego, right? You just enough to let it come to you,
I'm
you
so
know.
glad you came on the show today. You're exactly what the audience needed me to. You say you are the experiencer, the watcher who is aware of all. I like that.
That's
I
that's
think
right. We are.
I love
We
that.
all are.
I love that. Um, you said something about 7 billion individual people. You're talking about everybody down here right now. You talk a lot about the Holy Spirit removing blockages. I just want to know, what do you think? What's your feeling about humanity right now? It's getting crazier. And I just will say this, the crazier it gets, I just watch it all and I'm like, oh my goodness. What do you think
Yeah.
about all? I mean, it's just getting nuttier and nuttier, but it seems like the more nuttier it gets, the more I'm just like,
Yeah. So the way I see it,
Okay, I'm
honestly,
ready.
and
I'm
I
ready.
get, I completely get what you're saying. The way I see it is, if you had the whole of, you say the world, right, is one massive warehouse,
Okay.
right? And say the lights are off on the warehouse, and you've got a torch, right? And you put your torch onto this, you're going to see that, and it's going to look a little bit scary, right? And you're walking through it all, right? I mean, and this is awareness. You're putting your awareness onto this. You're putting your awareness onto that. When you're connected to the higher self all the time, surrendered, right? It's almost like not all the lights are on, but a lot of the lights are on, right? Not just the torch, right? So you are more aware of what's happening around you, right? And so you're no longer scared of it, or you see what's happening more than the
That's
little
what it
piece that
is.
we would see,
Right.
because
Yeah.
because it's like, how many times have you maybe seen someone push someone, right? But actually, if you were to step back from the situation, you would see maybe that was a friend, pushing someone in love, because we've only been aware of that small part, right? We
Mm.
didn't see the rest of it, right? And if we didn't see the rest of it, we're going to be scared,
We would
right?
know.
So
Right.
it's the awareness. It's where you put your awareness. That's what it
Mm.
is. You put your awareness onto love, onto surrender, in order to want to be what you are, right? And to be so diligent in that, to just be, I am so disciplined to want to be how God created me and nothing else, and it's that, and the nothing else is the character. It's the I, it's the personality that draws you in. It's always drawing you in. And I guess on this journey, it's learning the difference, learning how it does that. How does the ego system work? Chapter 10 on this book is all about
Hold
how
your
the
book
ego.
up. Hold your book
Yeah.
up.
So it's introducing you to your own perfection, and then chapter 10 goes
Yeah.
in depth. It's the biggest chapter. It really goes into the ego and the ego's ways that it brings you in. And once you know this, I got to say, you kind of laugh at some of the stuff that it brings in, because it brings it in, and you just you have choices. You can forgive, release it. You can just ignore it because you know what it is, or you can go into it and you can be scared. You can see a really
Mhm.
cruel world. You have a choice.
You have a
And Jesus
choice.
says, yeah, and
Yeah.
Jesus says, actually, in the Course of Miracles, he says you go above the battleground, right? So you've got the battleground up here, and you've got the war down here, right? The war is all the stuff that you're talking about, right? But
Mhm.
you're up here on the battleground with Jesus, right?
Mhm.
So you get to see the whole picture with
Yeah.
him. You hold his
Yeah.
hand,
Yeah.
and you're safe. You're safe.
That's a wonderful analogy. Thank you for that. I feel that way, and I'm glad you told us that. You also talk about dreaming. You say we are dreaming. You say we're in the secret dream. I think this is interesting. I like how you talk about this. You say the gap between dreaming and awakening is the real world. The real world is the oneness with our source of creation. I don't know. Talk about this. I get a little screwed up on the dreaming part, and I'll tell you why. It's just me. I don't remember. Sometimes I remember, or they're weird, or dreams, very, very profound dreams. But you know, are I don't know, you say that point, and I've heard people say that there's that point between dreaming and awake. And is that what you're talking about? That space right there?
What I'm talking about is, so there's two, that from where we are in this reality, that there's actually one dream, but it appears as two dreams. Okay,
Okay.
I'll go into this. So it's not about your individual dreams at night, right? We're talking about the the world as we know it, in pictures, moving images, physicality, the material world.
Okay.
It's a dream, right? It's a dream, and it's moving, right? And what we tend to think is, we tend to think that after the dream is over, after we say we die,
Mhm.
that we become awake,
Yeah,
right?
but you say
Actually,
we don't.
so this is the secret dream. Okay, so we don't, and the reason why is because the mind enters back into the separated mind, right? The separated mind is still alive, right? Now it can So if you've lived a life with the egoic mind, you
Mhm.
believe that you're separated, you believe you're individualized, you believe at the core of your being that actually home's not there anymore, right? God, I mean, of course, Miracles talks about the fact that we want to be our own gods. We want to be our own individual person, our own egoic self, a self-image, and we
Mhm.
want to do that over and over again, right? And we have done that over and over again. You know, Akash is something which I've been in this life, and I have been another body in another life as another body mind, and have done and will maybe do that in the future as well,
Right.
depending on my decision now, right? And so we've got the secret dream in the mind, which is actually that we have turned our back on God. We try to be our own gods, right? And we suffer. There's a huge amount of guilt in that. So we don't walk through that door. Now that door, which is the door that is back home, right? Which is unlimited, right? Which is absolutely free. We don't feel worthy enough to do that. We don't feel like we can be how we are in reality. And so that secret dream is the pain, it's the source of all hidden pain within our mind. And it's what's keeping us sustained in this cycle of birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. And so we don't actually, when we die, we don't actually just awaken. We go back into the separated mind, and it has unconscious guilt of wanting to be separate from the creator, and the creator just loves you unconditionally.
Yeah, I'm
But it's
going home. I don't know
but it's a
about you,
poor, but
Gosh, but
exactly,
I'm going
exactly,
home, dude.
exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But the way to go back home,
Yeah.
as a course puts it, is
Yeah.
through holy forgiveness at all of the pain points in your life. It's the
Mhm.
healing that needs to happen, and we've put the problems outside of us, right?
And they're not, they're inside
Uh,
of us.
they're inside of us, but we put them all outside, right?
Mhm.
And all the problems are forms of one problem. Okay, there's only one problem really, and that one problem is the belief that we're separate from our creator. Right, it's a core belief. It's the secret dream. Right, we are separate from our creator.
But
We
we're
have tried
not.
to overthrow God and be our own God. Right, and in fact, it's funny because actually, in reality, we are God.
We
No, we
are.
are we're
Yeah.
the same, right? We're the same as God in
Yeah.
every way,
Well,
but
yeah.
we want to be separate. We want to try to do it on our own, right? And it's a dream away from it. And then that secret dream just needs to really be brought to the surface and healed. And we do that through holy forgiveness at every pain point. You know, even the small ones I do it for. You know, washing machine leaking over the floor. It's a projection of the mind, right? If I feel pain in it, then it's coming from me. I have a perception problem, right? And therefore I need to heal that problem, right? And it's hidden in the mind. But the great thing about it is it's a trigger to tell me that there's something in my mind
So I'm going
that's
to stop
causing.
you. So what you're
Mhm.
talking now about is energy. You're
Yes.
talking about the frequency. I'm into
Yeah.
energy. My first
Yes.
book was on energy. So what you're saying, it really gets down to that. It really gets
Mm.
down. I mean, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, because if we're thinking those thoughts, then we're projecting it. And I always tell everybody, be careful what you say, be careful what you think, and be careful what you feel, because the universe is set up in such a way that
Yep.
it is there to comply with us. So if we
Yes.
say, I will not have this or not have that, they're like, oh, cool. She doesn't want that. So,
Yeah.
but I think people are starting to realize the words and the feelings, like you're talking about,
Mm.
that are projecting out. And
Mm.
like when you gossip, it's the
Yeah.
worst thing. Yeah, it's like the worst thing you could do. And I used to do it years ago, but then I
Yeah, of course.
learned, right. But then you learn that, wow, if you do that, that comes back to you tenfold.
Yeah, it definitely does. And with the Course in Miracles, it takes you, and even on pure non-dualistic spirituality, it takes you to firstly to that place in your core of your being where actually there there are no people, right? There's no external world, right? In that place, you exist still. There's an awareness there that you still exist boundlessly, freedom always,
Mhm.
right? And as you go through, chapter 2 talks about self-inquiry. As you go into the core of your being, there is an awareness there that you exist fully, right? And the people out there are they're like dream figures, right? And so when we talk about energy,
Yeah.
right, out there,
Yeah.
uh, energy is I mean, of course, Miracles says the mind is the activating agent for spirit, supplying it with creative energy, right? And that's because the mind gives us activities, gives us movements, gives us the ability to do all of these things, because actually spirit, which is what we are, it doesn't have movements. It's constant, perfect, eternal, always. And so it's the mind that gives us that, and the mind gives us creative energy, as you said. And that creative energy, it's the thoughts, isn't it? It's the thoughts of that mind that create the reality for us. You know,
Right.
and of course, vibrations as well, as you know.
Yeah. There's something that I want to mention. So it's kind of interesting because we wanted to be separate so we could experience, which I believe we're supposed to. I'm going to throw this out there and let's see what you think. This is what I think. Okay. So we're separate so we can experience, so we can learn, because that's what we're here to do, is to learn and to experience, because we can't do that otherwise. And then we do have the spark of God in us. So it does make us creators. So we can create. So it's a little confusing. Do you see what I mean? Because we came here to learn, we came here to experience, we came here to create, but yet we'll still go back after we learn all our stuff to the source.
Mm,
Do you see what I mean? I mean, there's a little disconnect there. What am I missing?
yeah. So that word creation is interesting that you say. So creation, real creation, only really happens in our true reality, right? And when we say creation, we mean extension. We mean extending out into eternity, where you just think it and it's there,
And it's there,
right?
right?
It's
Right.
there, right? It's there. And we do that together, right? Because we're all there together, and we
Mm-hmm.
push that out. We actually have creations in eternity right now, right? And then creations are awaiting us to come home, they say, and in fact we're actually there as well now. It's just a matter of where you put your awareness,
Yeah.
right? And so the creation is there, right? It's not here we are perceivers, right? Perceiving is very different to creating, because perceiving is unique, right?
Okay.
You have yours and I have mine, and everyone has
Right.
their own.
Yeah. Okay, you lost me just a little bit, only for the simple fact that maybe I should say manifest
Yes.
instead of create. It's kind of, but that's what I'm talking about. Because I feel like
Yep,
you get
it's a
to the
good word.
point, well,
Yeah.
yeah, you get to the point where you learn how to manifest stuff.
Correct. Yeah. And that's,
Yeah.
manifesting is great, and it's actually a reason why we're here.
Yeah.
We want to manifest, and we want to do all the things that we want to do here. And there's
Right.
absolutely no problem in that.
Right.
Right. Um and I think what happens is, as you raise your vibrational frequency, and you go up to higher consciousness, you learn that actually manifesting becomes a lot more easier,
Yeah.
right? Because you're in tune with it all. So it's actually just happening naturally. Now,
Yeah.
now this book, introducing you to your imperfection, is actually a bit further than manifesting. It gets to the
Yes.
point where you've manifested everything you want to do, you've got everything you want, and actually now only God is enough, because you've had the things you want, but you haven't been fulfilled, fully. Right, like you said, if you manifest all the great things, you have a lovely partner in life. If you've got, lovely children, if you've got all the money that you want, or the things that you've conquered and achieved, you
Right.
get to a point where there's still something there's not quite there. You're not fulfilled, and so that's why this is the final step. This is
Mhm.
the bit, and it's for the readers, that basically we're saying we're going back home. you
Yeah.
know it's
Yeah.
that final stage where it's not really the secret with manifesting. I'll be honest, it's not that type of book. That's for those that still want to go out there and do all them wonderful things. Great, do
Right.
it.
Right.
But it's a dream. Yeah, you're doing all that, but you're doing it in a dream still.
And a dream
It's
still.
not the ultimate reality, right? And for me, I wanna be as God created me in its reality, and I want to just melt into it and be what I am, you know. And this is why we talk about enlightenment, self-realization,
Yeah.
which is the end. It's the disappearance of the universe, you know.
Mhm. I like how you talk about judgment because I'm real big on that. I used to be real judgy, and now I recognized it several years back. And so I just want to say that because we have to just start realizing that we don't judge anybody. We're all here to learn, and we're all kind of, doing our own thing. I don't know. I feel like I'm here to just help. I feel like God sent me here to help raise the vibration, to help teach, to help,
And
humanity.
you're doing really well at that as well. You're
Oh,
doing
thank
really
you.
well. You know, you
Thank
really
you.
are. Yeah.
Thank you.
That definitely seems like it's your purpose as well, and you're doing all these fantastic shows and helping people.
Is that how you
And
feel too? That you're here to help raise the vibration?
yeah, I mean, raising global consciousness
Yeah.
to a place where there's only peace on the outside. It does actually come from you first, though. You know, it's because it's all coming from you. It's you that raises your own consciousness to and you do that through holy forgiveness with everything around you. So whenever you see something painful on the outside, you forgive it, you release it. Even like the things that happen, like wars on the outside, viruses
Mm-hmm.
on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, they're all coming from the one mind, the one mind that believes it's separate from the creator,
It's
right? And so it's
creating all this
suffer,
stuff.
it's creating
Yeah.
stuff. So and because you perceive pain in that situation, it's coming from you. It's coming from
Yeah.
that part of the mind. So it needs holy forgiveness, you know, and needs releasing, right? And so we've actually called things like the virus into our existence because we want to heal the mind. We want to move up move up globally. We want to move that humanity over into higher consciousness, and it's an opportunity to do that, you know.
What do you think? When are we going to do it?
Yeah, well, it's already done. In fact, to be honest, the way if you chapter 9, space-time continuum, it's all laid out. It's already there. It's just us moving through that to bring it forth, right?
Mhm.
So it's when we're ready to bring that forth and we're ready to experience that, it comes at the right moment.
Okay, I have one more question. I don't want to keep you too long today, Akash. But so I've always thought, this is my feeling, and I want to know what your feeling is. So everybody's working on themselves. We're all going in, we're all connecting, we're all like, we're getting there. Are we going to bring the people who didn't get there with us to help them? Are we going to just kind of, do you see what I mean? Will our
Yeah,
energy take the ones who aren't quite there? Will that bring them up with us? That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking. I don't know.
So A Course in Miracles obviously says that
I haven't read it. I
yeah,
don't know.
I'll no worries. But it basically says the at that moment we wanted to be separate. All of space-time was projected outwards, right? With all possibilities, right? All lives, right? And all variations within space-time. And we have put our awareness now as a small dream figure inside one moment of time, right? And we're experiencing it as a linear time, right?
Yeah.
Actually, all of time is happening at once, simultaneously, right? Okay, so in fact, at the very end of time, right, it's the end, right? We've all become enlightened our own ways, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
it's separate. It's different for everyone because everyone has different personalities that we've created,
Mhm.
uniqueness that we've created, and
Right.
so enlightenment comes differently to us, although it's the same goal, right? Like for example, if I hear someone else who's enlightened or someone else who, like some of the great masters, you can hear what they're saying and you just hear so much truth in what they're saying,
Mhm.
although they're saying it a bit differently, you know, because you've got the same awakened mind that you're connected to translating it for you to say yes, we're all, you know, and we all get there. It's fixed, it's done, it's already done, you know. We're in the all the space-time continuum, we're already there, you know. And in fact, outside of space-time, we're already in eternity. This is like um it's a continuum that we're just walking through and experiencing separation. But you can do it at a high consciousness level, and when you're ready, you can pull yourself away from it all, and you go back home yourself.
Yeah. 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 It's hard being down here.
No, you're not. You're exactly where you should be. You know, exactly where you should be. Always.
Oh,
We always
yeah, I
are.
know. Isn't that funny?
We
That's
always are
true.
exactly
That's
where we should
true.
be.
I know.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely are where you should be.
How funny. How funny. All right. Now I want to hear the reaction from the book. It's very good, by the way. Hold the book up again for the audience so they can check it out. You guys, it's called Your Own Perfection. How has it done? What has your response been from people other than me?
So, in October, I went onto social media after living a 5-year life very quietly, peacefully with the higher self. And I went to social media, and we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, Instagram, we're on Twitter, and started a YouTube channel as well now. And so a lot of the material is coming out. Videos are happening every couple of days and being posted out there.
I know I saw one of your videos.
There's just so much material that comes through, and it's posted out for to help the people that need it. Things like this, people receive it when they're ready.
Right.
People are, and also you could say the material's being made for certain people at certain times in their life.
Yeah.
The way that I've received things
And me too.
in
Yeah.
my life, right, from
Yeah.
certain people.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's that consciousness giving it back to itself. And so the feedback from social media is a lot of people. My friends are global, right? So they're in
Oh, good.
USA, Canada, Nepalese, Korea. Lots of different people connecting to me, reading the book, and actually really enjoying it. It's only really been out less than a month,
I know.
but the people have really been. I mean, the reviews are already on Amazon are incredible, 5 stars across the plate, and you just think, when you're writing the book, you don't really think. You think, oh gosh, are people going to read this? It's non-duality. It's talking about the separation from God. I mean, come on, is people going to really like? But you have that faith and you have that
Yes.
trust. Actually, it's for the certain people. People are going to are actually relying on it the way I was relying on A Course in Miracles, for example. People are going to be relying on that, and so you play your part in the script, don't you?
Yeah.
Everyone has their part to play, and this is my part to play
I love it.
for everyone. So
Wow. So what's next, Akash? What's next for you?
I actually want to get more into things like conversations with the higher self, like, for example, have sessions where people can come and book on with me, and we could just be speaking to, I've got Akash Sky, the sky,
Yeah.
the way you can ask unlimited questions to it, and it gives you the responses, and it's just there to help.
To help. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's just they're using the acquired knowledge that it has, and it just passes it through and shares it with everyone. So that's
Right.
something which later in the year I'm hoping
I think you
to bring
should.
out.
Yeah. You probably
So
don't know this, but I work with the angels. And
do
so,
you?
yeah. And so what
Oh,
I do,
beautiful.
so what I do is I just ask the angels. I'm like, hey, but lately, I'll just say this. Lately, I've been channeling the divine. So I've been doing like what you've been doing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, they're going to think I'm crazy. But sometimes you
Yeah.
get these messages and you have to get them out there.
Yeah, no, you have to, and you're gonna have
You got to
the
have the
trust,
kahunas.
the trust. I mean, I got to say, when I first went onto it, there's so much ego resistance to not go up on social media. I didn't even know I was away from social media because I didn't.
Good.
I love that peaceful life, and I
Yeah.
never I never wanted to go on it, and then I had to learn how to post and do stories and all these sort of
It's
things,
work.
it actually becomes a bit of a hobby of mine, to be honest, communicating out with the world
Nice. Nice.
on that message, that we're all one, where there's nothing to worry about. You're loved unconditionally, and you're a multi-dimensional being. You can bring peace to your existence whenever you want, and it's that it's your choice. How far do you want to take your spirituality? Do you want to go all the way to surrendering everything and just being literally, you're melting, like when I go to bed tonight, I just melt into, I say the words, I give everything to you, and I rest in God. It's that melting that you do,
Beautiful.
of just gratitude that you've created me whole, complete, innocent, um, and no judgment. Whatever you've done here, no judgment. It doesn't judge you. It loves you. And you can, once that comes through to you, you share that with everyone as well, because you've got it. And you know that that's not going to go. It's never going to go. So you just keep giving it. Just keep giving it, because you don't
I
expect
know.
anything else back. There's no
No.
expectation. You just keep loving it, and you love everyone else. And it's a wonderful journey. This self-realization. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and we all will do it. That's the
We
beautiful thing
will.
about it.
Akash Sky, you are just amazing. And I'm so grateful that you came on the show today.
I'm so
Honestly.
grateful for you to have me, and
Thanks.
you're doing such great work. Really
You
proud
are
of you.
too. Well, thank you. You are too. All right, you guys, we're going to get out of here for today. The book, if you want to hold it up one more time, it's called Introducing You to Your Perfection. It's a guide to walking the path to peace with our inner guru. I love it. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks a
All
lot.
right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here for today. If you want an angel reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com, and book your date and time. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and God bless.